Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 13 and compare it against the iPhone 12 Pro and see which particular phone is the better one for you. Now, it's very interesting because the Pro model of the year before, in some ways, could be a better deal than the current model or the newer model of the next year. So let's go and see how both these compare. If you want to pick up either one of these phones or some other iPhones I'd recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both of these, the iPhone 12 Pro, which came out back in 2020, on the front has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. This was the exact same iPhone 12 Pro that I used, and I had a really good time with it. It was a very good iPhone. I loved this gold color so much. It's one of my most favorite iPhones of all time. And the display itself was actually pretty good. It was the biggest Pro model they made for the base models at the time, which was really nice. And you still had a notch up top and still a 60 hertz display on this thing, but it still looks like a pretty good panel. I don't really have that much to complain about here, and overall, I would definitely tell you if I'm going to pick up a phone, I do like the way this thing looks a lot. Like it looks like a very, very good iPhone when it comes down to it. The iPhone 14 or the iPhone 13, on the other hand, has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, so basically the same type of panel. And I would still say it's probably the same type of display for the most part. Like it really isn't that big of a difference. You are getting still a bright panel. Everything like that is basically the same. The only difference is from the front is that you are getting a little bit of a smaller notch. Like it seems less wide, which is really nice. Now we have a dynamic island, so it doesn't really matter that much. But still having more screen is something that's important. And at least on the front side, a very, very similar type of layout. You are not going to upgrade from one phone to the other because of the display. But man, the rest of the body of the iPhone 12 Pro, especially this gold model, is crazy. It looks so nice to me. So you can see we kind of have similar stylings of buttons and everything. The iPhone 12 Pro has this, reflective material all around it, which is nice. SIM card trays right there, which is really nice to have. On the top, nothing really crazy going on, about the same thing. On the bottom, you have your Lightning ports, which again is super nice. You can charge up your iPhone as you normally would, which is really cool. On the back side, you can kind of see another very interesting difference. So with the iPhone 12 Pro, you essentially have your particular triple camera setup right there, which is really nice. And on your iPhone 13, you have a dual camera setup. So wide ultra-wide telephoto lens on the 12 Pro, wide ultra-wide on the iPhone 13, a LiDAR sensor on the iPhone 12 Pro as well, which is nice. And just from those things in and of itself, it kind of looks like the iPhone 12 Pro might be a better phone in some ways. But I do like this frosted glass back on the 12 Pro. Definitely a lot more premium than the 13s. I keep calling this the 14. Than the 13s. MagSafe charging on the back, wireless charging on the back too. IP certification. Lots and lots of overlap here between both devices, which is nice to have. So I'll definitely tell you between both, at least on the outside, there's not really like a massive differences here for the most part, but you are definitely getting I would say a better feeling phone on the iPhone 12 Pro than on the iPhone 13, pretty much any way you look at it. Now in other ways, with the iPhone 12 Pro, the only downside I would say from a lot of ways is probably with its software. You're probably going to be getting a longer lasting phone on the iPhone 13 than on the iPhone 12 Pro. But both these phones are still supported. There's not really like any insane craziness going on with any of these phones right now. So I do think that's a pretty good thing going on for both these devices. Like if you're going through and using any sort of iPhone, I think you're going to be getting a really good experience on all these devices for the most part. But I would say keep in mind that if you're wanting the better device for the most part, you're probably going to be getting a better phone in most ways on something like the iPhone 13 from a software standpoint than from the iPhone 12 Pro as far as I can tell. So kind of keep that in mind. Not the biggest deal in the world, but that is maybe just one thing to keep in mind there. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these iPhones. The iPhone 12 Pro has that Apple A14 body chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. Where the iPhone 13 has that Apple A15 body chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, awesome. All the apps are cleared out in the background, so let us get into it. Phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Music, 3, 2, 1. And kind of about the same thing too, not anything super crazy. Hopping out of these two. App Store, 3, 2, 1. Now I like testing the App Store. Actually, the iPhone 12 Pro slightly faster there. That was actually pretty surprising. Scrolling through, I think both are kind of the same. There's not really going to be any crazy differences here as far as I'll be able to tell probably. Hopping out of both of these, let's go and get into clock. 3, 2, okay, totally messed that one up, so we'll just hold that one up in the background. Photos, 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing too for the most part, hopping out of both of these. Let's go into stocks, which I don't even have here. Okay, do 3, 2, 1. and these two aren't even like through it, but you can see I think the 12 Pro might have been, I'm not really too sure, they're kind of like a little off for me. Let's go and do tempo run 2, 3, 2, 1. So far the 12 Pro has been doing a decent job. I'm actually kind of surprised about that particular iPhone. You can see the 13, so I don't know which one's going to be faster here. I think the 12 Pro is like just like a centimeter faster here. I don't know how to determine the measurement of that, but it was slightly faster for the most part. 13 just a little bit slower. Now, once you're in the game, I would probably argue that it's going to be roughly around the same. You're probably not going to notice big, massive differences, but in the performance side between both, at least when the game is loaded. But definitely from the loading speeds, that's probably going to be one of the bigger differences, probably as far as I can tell. If I had Subway Surfers here, oh, I do 3, 2, 1. Let's see this particular application. I really hope there's no pop-ups or anything like that, or anything insane. But once again, the 12 Pro looks to me that it's getting a little bit faster here, which is actually pretty crazy. I would not expect the 12 Pro to be doing this better of a job, considering like it is an older iPhone. And I've always had little weird issues with the iPhone 12 Pro, and they're on like the latest version of software too, as far as I'm concerned. Let's see what else we have. Snapchat 321. I don't even know what this is on this device, but it might be another thing to keep in mind. I think that's most of the applications. We do have some one-off ones, like we have like the other ones that are stock, like Files application 321. Even the 13 there was slower. Shortcuts 321. The 12 Pro again was faster. We do another one, Contacts 321. But overall, what I'm definitely seeing is the iPhone 12 Pro is actually doing a pretty good job. The 12 Pro did, I think, a better job from the performance side than the iPhone 13 today, which was actually pretty surprising. Now, from the camera side, this is also another interesting thing because both these phones are slightly different. So the iPhone 12 Pro, you are getting a wide ultra-wide telephoto lens, which was nice to have. The iPhone 13, you are getting a wide and ultra-wide camera. You're also getting the LiDAR sensor here, which really doesn't even matter that much, but it is nice to have kind of an additional camera sensor. But you can see with the iPhone 13's camera, they are actual like wider lenses. That's kind of the big thing to keep in mind with the iPhone 12, with the iPhone 13. But with things like the iPhone 12 Pro, I think this is a very decent lens. I don't really think it was a massive difference from the iPhone 11 Pro camera, but I would say, you're still getting 10x zoom, which is really nice. You're getting 0.5x zoom here too. Getting video mode, slow mode, time lapse, portrait mode, panorama mode. This is a really, really good camera to have for the most part for its age. But I would definitely tell you in a lot of ways, in my personal opinion, I've said this for a long time now, I really do feel like the iPhone 13 cameras were actually a pretty big difference. Like from the predecessor to this one, they were actually very good. I feel like the quality of these lenses was better, but also you're missing out on the telephoto lens, so you're still getting 0.5x zoom and then 5x zoom here, but you are getting cinematic mode, which was really nice to have. The iPhone 12 Pro, none of the 12s have this. It's the 13s and newers that have this type of feature, and it is a really nice thing. Like I said, it's like portrait mode for video, and it is a really nice feature to have. The newest iPhones don't really have it, but this iPhone does have it, which again is a very, very nice touch to have. So if I'm looking through and if I'm purchasing some sort of device, I definitely do think the iPhone 13's camera is probably going to be a little bit of a better one, even though it's missing out on that, telephoto lens. But this one's a tough one because if I were to just go through and recommend a phone to the average person, I think the iPhone 13 would be the one I'd recommend. Probably, most people watching this, like, just buy a 13. It's still being sold by Apple brand new, and you could just buy it, and it's probably cheaper than the 12 Pro. But the 12 Pro surprised me today. I think the performance is better on the 12 Pro. If you're wanting cinematic mode in particular, then go for the iPhone 13. But if you're wanting a phone that feels much more expensive, that has a really good heft to it, especially this gold color, you will probably have to go for the iPhone 12 Pro. I think we're good now where both these phones are still going to be supported for quite some time, but there might be a chance where in the next couple of years the 12 Pro will be unsupported with software, while the iPhone 13 will still be supported with software. So just kind of keep that in mind, but that's kind of how I see both these phones kind of comparing in 2024. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, till then.